The billionaire stood frozen as his daughter spoke for the first time in years, her voice shaking, raw, real, while the nanny who made it happen was being dragged out of the mansion in handcuffs. Security doors slammed. The child screamed her name, reaching for her like her life depended on it. And the man who owned everything suddenly realized he might lose the one thing he couldn't buy back. But why was the nanny being arrested for saving a child? Why did the girl speak only now, after years of silence? And what terrifying secret did she believe her voice was hiding? Every doctor said the silence was permanent. They said nothing could be done. They were wrong. Stay to the end of this video to discover what the girl was really protecting, the mistake that haunted her father, and how one forbidden truth shattered a billionaire's world forever. Kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and it doesn't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. The doors slammed so hard the sound echoed through the ballroom like a gunshot. Wait, please, don't take her. The voice was small, raw, and shaking. Every conversation in the room died instantly. Alexander Cross turned just as his daughter broke free from the chair and ran barefoot across the marble floor, her white dress bunching in her fists. Her chest heaved, eyes wild, tears streaming down her face as she reached for the woman being dragged toward the exit by two uniformed guards. Please, Lily cried again, louder now. She didn't do anything. I did. It's my fault. Victoria's wrists were locked in metal cuffs. Her hands were trembling so badly, she could barely keep them steady. She twisted her head, eyes searching, heart slamming against her ribs. Lily, she said, her voice cracking despite her effort to keep it calm. Hey, look at me. It's okay. I'm right here. Alexander froze. His daughter had not spoken a word in 3 years. The guests stared in stunned silence as Lily sobbed openly, sound pouring out of her like something that had been trapped too long. The chandelier lights burned harsh and unforgiving above them, reflecting off crystal glasses and polished shoes. Someone dropped a phone. Someone else gasped. Alexander could not move. His mouth opened but nothing came out. His heart pounded so violently it made him dizzy. How did this happen? Why was his daughter speaking now? And why was the nanny in handcuffs? The night shattered backward. 3 weeks earlier the Cross estate had been quiet in the way only money could afford. Not peaceful. Controlled. The kind of silence that pressed against the ears until it felt intentional. Victoria Hale stood just inside the massive front doors with her small suitcase at her feet, smoothing her palms against her skirt to hide how badly they were shaking. The light inside the mansion was soft but distant, filtered through tall windows and thick curtains. Everything smelled faintly of polish and cold air. She told herself to breathe. This is just a job, she whispered under her breath. Just a job. The housekeeper, a tall woman with sharp eyes and clipped movements, looked her over. You're the nanny? Yes, Victoria said quickly. Yes, ma'am. You'll be caring for Lily Cross. You'll follow instructions. You'll maintain boundaries. You'll keep your opinions to yourself. Victoria nodded. Of course. The woman hesitated, then added, and you will not attempt to fix what doctors couldn't. Something tightened in Victoria's chest. I wouldn't. They walked through long corridors where footsteps echoed too loudly. Staff moved quietly, avoiding eye contact. No television played. No music hummed in the background. The house felt like it was holding its breath. They stopped outside a sunlit sitting room. She's in there, the housekeeper said. She doesn't speak. Don't push her. Victoria stepped inside slowly. Lily sat on the floor with her back against the couch, legs crossed, crayons scattered around her. She didn't look up. Her dark hair fell into her face as she drew carefully on thick white paper. Victoria crouched at a distance. Hi, she said softly. I'm Victoria. No response. That's okay, Victoria continued, forcing a gentle smile Lily couldn't see yet. You don't have to say anything. Lily's crayon paused. Victoria felt it. A shift. Subtle but real. She stayed quiet. A few seconds passed. Then Lily hummed. It was barely audible. A soft, uneven sound, like someone testing air through their throat. Victoria's breath caught. She didn't move. Didn't speak. Just listened. The humming grew a little stronger. Then footsteps sounded in the hall. The humming stopped instantly. Lily's shoulders stiffened. She lowered her head, pressing her lips together so tightly they turned pale. Alexander Cross stepped into the room. He was tall, immaculate, his presence filling the space without effort. His eyes went straight to his daughter, then briefly to Victoria. Good afternoon, he said, voice neutral. Controlled. Victoria stood quickly. "Good afternoon, sir." Lily did not move, did not hum, did not breathe loudly. Alexander watched her for a moment, something unreadable flickering behind his eyes. Then he nodded once and left. Only after the sound of his footsteps faded did Lily's shoulders relax. Victoria's heart was racing. That night Victoria lay awake in the small staff quarters staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment over and over. The sound, the way it vanished the second Lily's father appeared. "She can speak," Victoria whispered. "She can." The next morning she tested it carefully. They sat alone in the sitting room again. Sunlight spilled across the floor. Victoria spoke quietly, deliberately casual. "Do you like drawing?" she asked. Lily shrugged. "That one looks like a bird," Victoria said, pointing. Lily nodded. Victoria hesitated, then said gently, "You know, it's okay to make noise in here." Lily's fingers tightened around the crayon. Her eyes flicked toward the door. "I won't tell," Victoria added quickly. "I promise." A long silence stretched between them. Then Lily leaned closer and whispered, so softly it barely existed, "If I talk, someone dies." Victoria felt like the air had been punched out of her lungs. She didn't react, didn't gasp. She swallowed hard and kept her voice steady. "Why do you think that?" Lily's hands shook. She grabbed a piece of paper and scribbled quickly, pushing it toward Victoria. "I talked. Mommy yelled. Mommy left. Mommy never came back." Victoria's vision blurred. "Oh," she whispered. "Oh, sweetheart." Lily flinched at the word sweetheart, then watched Victoria carefully, as if bracing for anger. For correction. For consequences. Victoria forced her voice to stay calm, even as her chest felt too tight to breathe. "Lily," she said quietly. "Your voice didn't do that." Lily shook her head violently. Tears welled up. "You don't know," Lily whispered. "Everyone leaves." That afternoon Dr. Mercer arrived. Victoria stood near the door while the doctor spoke briskly to Alexander about treatment plans and continued evaluations. Charts. Terms. Long words that said nothing. Victoria waited until they were alone. "I think Lily's muteness isn't neurological," she said carefully. "I think it's trauma." Dr. Mercer's smile thinned. "Are you trained in psychology?" "No," Victoria admitted. "But I've worked with children like her. She whispers when she feels safe. She believes speaking caused her mother's death." Dr. Mercer's eyes hardened. "That's a dangerous assumption." "It's not an assumption," Victoria said, heart pounding. "She told me." Dr. Mercer leaned closer. "You are a nanny, not a clinician. If you continue this behavior, I will have to report it." Victoria's mouth went dry. "Report me for what?" "Listening. For interfering." That evening Alexander called Victoria into his study. "I'm told you've been encouraging Lily to speak," he said without looking up. Victoria clasped her hands together to keep them from shaking. "I've been encouraging her to feel safe." Alexander finally met her eyes. His expression was tired, guarded. "False hope is cruel." "She's not broken," Victoria said before she could stop herself. Silence crashed between them. Alexander stood. "You will keep your distance," he said quietly, "or I will replace you." Victoria nodded. "Yes, sir." But that night Lily clung to her, whispering through tears, "Don't leave. Please." Victoria held her, heart breaking, knowing the choice she was making would change everything. And it did, because 3 days later the gala lights would blaze. The guards would move, the cuffs would close, and Lily would scream, and nothing would ever be quiet again. Victoria knew the moment something was wrong the instant Lily refused to let go of her hand. They stood at the edge of the ballroom, just outside the flood of light and noise. Lily's small fingers wrapped tight around Victoria's wrist, as if she were holding onto the last solid thing in a moving world. The music inside swelled and dipped, laughter cutting through it in sharp bursts. Lily's breathing was already uneven. "I don't like it," Lily whispered, barely audible. "It's too loud." Victoria crouched in front of her, ignoring the eyes already turning in their direction. "I know," she said softly. "We can stand right here. We don't have to go in." Lily nodded, but her grip did not loosen. Across the room Alexander Cross shook hands with donors and board members, his face composed, his posture flawless. Anyone watching would have thought he was in control. Only Victoria saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his smile never quite reached his eyes. A server passed too close. A glass clinked. Lily flinched violently. Victoria felt her own heart start to race. She leaned closer. "Look at me," she murmured. "You're okay. I'm here." Lily swallowed hard. "They're watching," she whispered. Victoria glanced up. At the far end of the room, Dr. Mercer stood near two members of the board, her gaze fixed directly on Victoria. Not curious. Assessing. Victoria's chest tightened. "Hey," she said gently, brushing Lily's hair back. "Do you want to go to the quiet room upstairs?" Lily nodded quickly. They turned just as a guard stepped into their path. "I'm sorry," he said, not unkindly. "Mr. Cross asked that Lily stay visible tonight." Victoria's pulse spiked. "She's overwhelmed," she said. "She just needs a minute." The guard hesitated, eyes flicking toward Alexander. Lily's breathing quickened. Her hand tightened painfully around Victoria's wrist. "I don't want to be here," Lily whispered. "Please." Victoria straightened. "I'm taking her upstairs." "I can't let you do that," the guard said. That was when Dr. Mercer approached. "Is there a problem?" she asked smoothly. "She's having sensory overload," Victoria said, trying to keep her voice steady. "She needs quiet." Dr. Mercer smiled thinly. "She needs consistency. You've already caused enough disruption." Lily shook her head violently. No. Dr. Mercer's gaze dropped to Lily, then back to Victoria. "You're overstepping again." Before Victoria could respond, Alexander was there. "What's going on?" he asked. Victoria opened her mouth, but Dr. Mercer spoke first. "Victoria is attempting to remove Lily from the event against medical guidance." Alexander's jaw tightened. He looked down at his daughter. "Lily," he said gently. "Are you okay?" Lily froze. Her eyes darted from her father to Victoria. Her lips pressed together, trembling. Victoria felt it happen, the way Lily folded inward like a door closing. "She was fine a moment ago," Alexander said, his tone sharpening. "Victoria." "I'm not trying to undermine you," Victoria said, her voice cracking despite her effort. "She's scared." Alexander's gaze hardened. "We talked about this." "Yes," Victoria said quietly. "And she talked to me." Dr. Mercer stepped closer. "This is exactly what I warned you about." Alexander exhaled sharply. "Security." The word landed like a slap. "No," Victoria said immediately. "Please." Two guards approached. Lily's breath hitched. Her eyes widened in terror as one of them reached for Victoria's arm. "No," Lily whispered. "Don't." The guard closed his hand around Victoria's wrist. Everything shattered. "Stop." The word ripped through the room, loud and broken and desperate. Music cut off. Conversations collapsed into silence. Every head turned. Lily screamed again. "Stop. Don't take her. Please." Alexander staggered back as if struck. His daughter stood shaking, tears streaming down her face, her voice echoing off the walls of the ballroom that had never heard it before. Victoria felt the cuffs snap shut around her wrists as Lily sobbed openly, clinging to her dress, her voice tumbling out in uneven bursts. "I didn't mean to," Lily cried. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just didn't want you to leave too." Alexander dropped to his knees. He didn't remember deciding to do it. One moment he was standing. The next the marble floor was cold beneath him, and his heart felt like it was tearing itself apart. "You can talk," he whispered, staring at his daughter as if she might disappear. "You can talk." Lily sobbed harder. "I was scared." Victoria twisted toward her despite the guards. "Lily," she said urgently. "Look at me. You're okay. You're so brave." "I didn't want Mommy to die," Lily cried. "I thought if I stayed quiet you wouldn't leave too." The words hit Alexander like a physical blow. "Oh God," he whispered. "Oh God." He reached for her, then hesitated, fear flickering across his face. "Is that what you thought?" he asked hoarsely. "That your voice, that you caused it?" Lily nodded, eyes squeezed shut. Everyone was yelling. Then it was quiet. So I stayed quiet too. Alexander's composure collapsed. "I should have seen you," he said, voice breaking. "I was right there, and I still didn't see you." Dr. Mercer cleared her throat. "Alexander, this is highly inappropriate. She's having an episode." Alexander rounded on her, eyes blazing. "An episode," he repeated. "She's talking." Dr. Mercer stiffened. "Trauma responses can be temporary." "Get away from us," Alexander snapped. The guards hesitated. "Remove the cuffs," Alexander said, his voice shaking but firm. "Sir," one guard began. "Now." The cuffs fell from Victoria's wrists. She dropped to her knees beside Lily, pulling her gently into her arms. Lily clung to her, crying hard, her voice breaking over and over like it was afraid to stop again. "It's okay," Victoria whispered, tears streaming down her own face. "You didn't do anything wrong. You hear me?" "Nothing." Alexander watched them, chest heaving, his world rearranging itself in real time. Later the room was empty. The lights were dimmed. The guests gone. The sound of Lily's quiet breathing filled the silence between them. Alexander stood by the window, staring out into the dark, his reflection staring back at him. Smaller. Older. I thought if I followed the rules, he said quietly, not turning around. If I did everything they said. I thought that was love. Victoria sat beside Lily on the couch, stroking her hair. You were trying to survive, she said softly. He turned then, eyes red. So were you. Silence stretched. I was wrong, Alexander said. About you. About her. About everything. Victoria hesitated. What happens now? Alexander swallowed. Dr. Mercer will no longer be treating my daughter. Dr. Mercer's resignation came quietly the next morning. The mansion changed slowly after that. Music returned first. Soft at first. Then louder. Lily spoke in fragments. Sometimes she went quiet again. But she always came back. One afternoon weeks later Lily sat at the piano, pressing keys clumsily, laughing when the sound surprised her. Alexander watched from the doorway. Victoria stood beside him. She's stronger than I ever was, he said. Victoria smiled. She always was. He glanced at her, emotion thick in his voice. Thank you for not giving up on her. She met his eyes. I never would have. And for the first time since his wife died, Alexander Cross felt something loosen in his chest. Sound filled the house. And it stayed. The first morning Lily woke up and spoke without crying felt unreal. Sunlight crept through the tall windows of her bedroom, soft and pale, touching the edges of the white curtains. The house was quiet, but not the old kind of silence. This one breathed. It waited. It felt alive. Victoria sat on the edge of the bed, hands folded in her lap, afraid to move too much. Lily stirred beneath the blankets, her eyelashes fluttering. For a terrifying second, Victoria wondered if the night before had been a fluke. A burst of sound that would vanish as quickly as it came. Lily opened her eyes. Did you leave? She asked hoarsely. Victoria's breath caught. No, she said quickly. I'm right here. Lily stared at her, as if testing reality. Then she pushed herself up slowly, rubbing her throat. It feels weird, she admitted. Like my voice might fall out. Victoria smiled gently, tears burning her eyes. It won't, but it's okay if it rests sometimes. Lily nodded. Can I try again? Victoria leaned closer. Whenever you're ready. Lily took a deep breath. Her hands trembled slightly. Good morning, she said. The words were soft, uneven. Perfect. Down the hall Alexander stopped walking. He stood frozen just outside Lily's door, one hand braced against the wall, his chest rising too fast. He hadn't realized he was holding his breath until he exhaled shakily. She was speaking. Not screaming. Not crying. Living. He turned away before either of them could see him. He wasn't ready for his daughter to see his face like this. The guilt was too raw. Too exposed. Later that day the doctor came. Not Dr. Mercer. Someone new. Someone Alexander had personally vetted. Someone who spoke gently and listened more than she talked. Lily answered her questions in short bursts, fingers twisting in her sleeve, eyes darting toward Victoria whenever she got nervous. It's okay, Victoria whispered when Lily hesitated. You're safe. Alexander watched the exchange with a tight chest. Safe. The word echoed in his mind. He had built empires. He had crushed competitors. He had protected fortunes. And still he had failed to make his own child feel safe enough to speak. That night he poured himself a drink he didn't finish and sat alone in his study, staring at a family photo taken before everything broke. His wife stood smiling, Lily balanced on her hip, tiny and loud and fearless. I missed it, he murmured to the empty room. I missed when it started. A knock sounded softly. Victoria stood in the doorway, hesitant. She's asleep. He nodded. Thank you. She lingered, then spoke carefully. She asked if you'd read to her tomorrow. His throat tightened. She did. She said she likes your voice, Victoria added, almost shyly. Alexander let out a shaky breath that turned into something dangerously close to a laugh. I don't deserve that. Victoria didn't argue. She just said, she needs you. The next weeks were not a miracle montage. They were messy, uneven. Lily spoke some days and went quiet others. Loud noises still startled her. Guilt crept back in at unexpected moments. Once, when Alexander raised his voice on a phone call, Lily dropped her fork and clapped her hands over her ears, eyes wide with terror. I'm sorry, he said instantly, kneeling in front of her. I'm sorry. That wasn't for you. She stared at him, breathing fast. Are you mad? He swallowed. I was frustrated. But not with you. Never with you. She studied his face. You promise? I promise, he said, and meant it more than any contract he had ever signed. Victoria watched these moments from the edges, her heart pulled in directions she tried not to name. She was supposed to be temporary, professional, invisible, but Alexander began to notice her in quiet ways. The way she always positioned herself between Lily and exits. The way she spoke softly even when she was scared. The way she never flinched from the hard conversations. One evening he found her sitting on the floor of the music room, Lily's head resting against her shoulder as they listened to a slow piano recording. She picked it, Victoria whispered. Alexander sat across from them, the weight of the moment pressing on his chest. Thank you, he said again. Victoria smiled faintly. You don't have to keep saying that. I do, he replied. I ignored the wrong voices for too long. The betrayal came quietly. A letter arrived 2 weeks later. Legal stationery. Cold language. Dr. Mercer was suing for wrongful termination. Alexander read it once, then again, his jaw tightening. He could already imagine the headlines. The speculation. The damage. Victoria saw the change in his posture immediately. What is it? He hesitated. She's claiming emotional manipulation. Saying you coerced Lily into speaking. Victoria went pale. That's not true. I know, Alexander said quickly. But she's dangerous. And public. Victoria's hands clenched. If this hurts Lily. It won't, he said firmly. I won't let it. But the tension seeped back into the house. Lily overheard whispers. Saw worried looks. One night she crawled into Victoria's lap, shaking. Is it my fault again? She asked quietly. Victoria's heart broke all over. No, she said fiercely. Never. Alexander stood in the doorway, listening, shame curling deep in his chest. The lawsuit never made it to court. Alexander released the recordings. The evaluations. The internal emails Dr. Mercer never thought would surface. The story flipped overnight. From negligent billionaire father to man who exposed a system that silenced children. From overstepping nanny to the woman who listened when no one else would. Victoria tried to resign after that. She stood in Alexander's office, hands clasped tightly. I think it's time, she said softly. Lily doesn't need me the way she did. Alexander looked up sharply. Is that what you want? Victoria hesitated. I don't know what I want. Silence stretched between them. Heavy. Honest. She needs consistency, Alexander said. And so do I. Victoria's breath hitched. Are you asking me to stay? I'm asking you not to disappear, he said quietly. Not again. She met his eyes. Saw the vulnerability there. The apology that didn't need words. I'll stay, she said. The day Lily sang for the first time, it was raining. She stood by the piano, voice shaky but determined, filling the room with sound that cracked and soared all at once. Victoria sat close. Alexander stood behind them, hands resting on the back of the chair, eyes shining. When Lily finished, she looked up nervously. Was it bad? Alexander laughed through tears. It was beautiful. Lily grinned, wide and fearless. Victoria watched them, warmth blooming in her chest. This house no longer held its breath. It listened, and for the first time, none of them were afraid of the sound. The first time Lily told the truth without whispering, it happened at dinner. The table was set with quiet elegance. Candles glowed softly, their light reflecting off polished silverware. The room smelled of warm food and something new that had begun to feel familiar. Comfort. Alexander cut his food carefully, as if afraid of making too much noise. Victoria noticed. She always did. Lily pushed her plate away and looked between them, her brow furrowed in deep concentration. I need to say something, she said. Both adults froze. Victoria smiled gently, though her heart started racing. Okay, she said softly. We're listening. Lily's fingers twisted together. Her shoulders lifted as she took a careful breath. I don't think Mommy left because of me anymore. Alexander's knife slipped from his fingers and clattered against the plate. He didn't care. I think she was sick, Lily continued, voice trembling but steady. And sad. And grown-up sad is different. Victoria felt tears fill her eyes. Alexander swallowed hard. You're right, he said hoarsely. She was. Lily nodded, relief washing over her face like something heavy had finally been set down. I miss her, she said, but I don't want to be quiet for her anymore. Alexander reached across the table without thinking, his hand covering Lily's. She didn't pull away. I don't want you to be quiet for anyone, he said. Not ever again. Later that night, after Lily fell asleep clutching her favorite book, Alexander and Victoria stood in the hallway outside her room. The lights were dim. The house was still. "I owe you more than thanks," Alexander said quietly. Victoria leaned against the wall, arms crossed loosely. "You don't owe me anything." He shook his head. "I owe you honesty." She waited. "I was afraid," he admitted. "If I acknowledged her pain, I'd have to face my own. It felt easier to outsource it. To doctors. To rules." Victoria met his gaze. "You didn't fail her by grieving," she said. "You failed her by grieving alone." The words landed. Heavy. Necessary. "I won't do that again," he said. She studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Good." Spring arrived quietly. The mansion windows stayed open. Music played in the afternoons. Lily laughed loudly and often, sometimes too loudly, and no one told her to stop. One afternoon Victoria found Lily in the garden, dirt smudged on her cheeks, talking to the flowers. "What are you telling them?" Victoria asked. Lily grinned. "Secrets, but good ones." Alexander watched from the terrace, something warm and unfamiliar settling in his chest. The scandal faded. The headlines moved on. But the changes stayed. Alexander started coming home earlier. He started listening more than speaking. He started apologizing without defensiveness. Victoria became permanent. Not just on paper. In presence. In belonging. The moment everything finally settled came quietly. Lily stood between them one evening, holding both their hands. "I like it when you're both here," she said simply. Alexander looked at Victoria. She looked back. Neither of them spoke. They didn't need to. That night, as the house settled into sleep, Alexander stood by Lily's door and listened to the sound drifting from her room. She was singing softly to herself. Off-key. Confident. Alive. He closed his eyes, tears slipping down his face, not from pain this time, but from something like grace. Victoria stood at the end of the hallway watching him. He turned and met her gaze. "Thank you," he whispered. She shook her head gently. She saved herself. Alexander looked back toward his daughter's room, toward the sound that had once terrified him. "No," he said quietly. "She saved all of us." And in a house that once worshipped silence, the sound of a child's voice became the most precious thing of all. This story followed a powerful billionaire father, his daughter who chose silence out of guilt and fear, and the nanny who refused to believe the child was broken. What began as a quiet household ruled by control and grief shattered during a public moment that exposed the truth. Through confrontation, loss, and courage, a child reclaimed her voice, a father reclaimed his humanity, and a woman who was meant to be invisible became family. In the end, it wasn't wealth that saved them, but listening. Now here's the question for you. If you were in Victoria's place, would you have risked your job and freedom to protect a child's truth, even if no one believed you at first? Tell us your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, don't let it end here. Subscribe to the channel for more emotionally powerful billionaire romances where silence hides secrets, love challenges power, and one brave choice changes everything. New stories every week. Your subscription helps these stories keep coming.